Hey Stampers, it's Amanda Mertz at Did You Stamp Today? And in a few minutes I'll be going live to do a Let's Stamp Today session. I'm going to be using the Jolly Delivery bundle, so we're getting a little Christmassy today. I'm just going to wait a minute and see who can join us live and get my other screen going so I can see if there's any comments. And turn off my sound because I don't want to hear myself. I'm surprised everybody comes to listen to me do all this. But some announcements for this week. There's lots of fun stuff coming from Stampin' Up! Lately, and I wrote them down so I would not forget. So let's see. Stampin' Up! Has a brand new product they've never done before, but we have been asking for a while, which is exciting to see it come together. It's 12 days of Advent paper crafting calendar. So it's geared towards the Christmas season, and every day there's 12 items. There's a box and 12 doors. So every day you open up a door for the 12 days of Christmas, and leading up to Christmas, or maybe after Christmas into New Year's, however you want to do it, whenever you want to do it. You could open up in November if you wanted, because you can't wait. But every day has a paper crafting product in it that's not in any catalog. It's not on the online store, so they're all new products that coordinate for all year round stamping. So there's going to be a stamp set, there are dies, there's paper, there's embellishments, and more that we don't even know about. They showed up, there's a video I've posted on my, I think I have it somewhere, but you can find it on YouTube and stuff, where they show a couple things real quick just to give you an idea. But the box is super cute. So if you are a paper crafter, put that on your wish list, send out the link to everybody so they can order it for you. If you have paper crafting people in your family or friends that you like to gift to, it would be a great present for them. Just share it with everybody, because you never know who it might who might be excited about it. I'm very excited. I haven't ordered mine yet, but I know a couple of my customers have already, so I'm excited. I have to decide if I'm going to open it early or wait until closer to Christmas. Maybe I'll do a little reveal online every day and then make something with the product. We'll have to see. So I'm still thinking about that. The next thing is Stampin' Up! Has announced virtual classes that they will be offering through like the home office. Like they're going to put these classes on with designers and home office staff. So the first one that they're doing is a Christmas class with the Traditions of Christmas suite collection, and the class is separate from the product. So you can buy the suite. If you've already bought the suite, you can go back and buy the class, and it's a virtual class. So you just order it like normal, but there's no shipping, since you're just going to get a link in your email that will give you all the details. But it's basically you join a private Facebook group to do the live version, and you can craft along with them or just watch it, and then so you kind of know the lay of the land, and then you can make your own projects by watching the video on replay. If you can't join live, that's fine. You just watch the video whenever it's convenient. You can stop and pause and, catch up and just watch and see how the projects come together. But that's a great thing, especially if you love the Stampin' Up! Products, but you don't have a demonstrator that's close by that you can attend classes with. So you can still get the same type of interactive and learning opportunity to learn new projects and just to see cards get put together. So you could join in on that. So that will be starting October 1st. So look online, starting October 1st to get all the details of that. And then there's another two things. If you've ever thought that you might like to be a demonstrator, there are some online meetings with Stampin' Up! Staff also to kind of talk about the opportunity and just to see kind of how the company runs and just what it all involves as being a demonstrator. Like really, you can make it anything you want. Like you can run classes, you can just do it for the discount, you can kind of do a little bit of both. So there's that. So if you are interested in that, please let me know. I can get you the details and get you all the links to get signed up for that. And then also along that line, if you have ever thought you'd want to be a demonstrator, there is a joint special starting in October. So it's a great deal in the starter kit, a couple different options of what you could do. So if you're interested in that, please also let me know, leave a comment or reach out to me via direct message or my email, and I can get you the details on that. But that's going to be all announced, all the details that you can do it on October 1st. So it's just a lot of details, so I don't want to go into that today, but because we're really here for stamping, which we're going to get to in a moment. But I think that's it. So let me show you. We are going to be using the Jolly Delivery Bundle today. Let's see if I can show it to you without the, there we go, without the glare from my window. So it's got the cute little animals, so we're going to use that, and it's no fancy technique or anything, just putting a card together, kind of showing you some layering and some coloring and stuff. So let me get the camera switched around and we can get to stamping. So here we go. And let me see if I can get it lined up and zoomed in enough so you can see. How's that? There we go. That might be my smoothest transition. Yeah, you see my feet and everything. All right, so let's get started with the fun stuff. We're also going to use the traditional labels die, or traditional labels stamp set. It goes with the dies, but this one I'm just going to be using one of the sentiments just for the inside, because these on this one are a little small, so I wanted something a little bigger for the inside. Set those aside and show you some of our supplies. We've got an envelope, not super exciting. We've got a real red card base. We've got a strip of shaded spruce, a piece of basic white for stamping, piece of basic white. This one we're going to emboss and then just do a little tearing, and this one is 4 1/4 by 2 3/4. So this one you just kind of eyeball. Got an insert. I think this one's the insert, and then this one we're just going to do some die cutting and stamping. And let's see. Oh, I already had an envelope out, so we don't need 2 envelopes. I'll stick that one back in the pile. We've got a piece of the Jolly Delivery, North Pole Delivery Designer Series paper, and this is what's on the back, but we're just going to use this pool party, just kind of speckled pattern, and I think that's it. So let's do some of our stamping first. I'm gonna fold this, get out my bone folder, and I hope everybody's having a great week so far. Mine has been a little bit busy, but not like crazy busy, just maybe things are a little bit not typical for a normal week for us. The kids. My youngest son, he's the only one that's still at home. He had a college tour here in town at one of the local universities, so we did that on Monday since there was no school. And then yesterday my parents were visiting nearby, about an hour away from Connecticut, so we met them for dinner while they were kind of in the neighborhood, if you will. So it's just a little different schedule than we've usually doing. Okay, so I'm gonna do my stamping on with the Memento Black, because we're gonna do some blends coloring. So I want to let that ink dry. So if you weren't aware of the Stampin' Blend, to use Memento Black ink for outlines. You can use some of our other inks too, but the Memento Black gives you a nice crisp outline, but you want to let it dry before you do your coloring, because the lines can bleed a little bit. So I always like to give those a quick stamp at the beginning, so they can dry while I do some of the other steps. And this one I'm using, so I did the polar bear on that one. This one I'm using the little dog and the little cat, because why not? So we're just going to stamp those guys and set them aside. And then I am going to use some real red on my real red base, and I'm going to stamp the little stamp with all the little envelopes around it. I'm just going to do that around the edge and just kind of go off and just kind of show those around the edge. And I'm only going to do part way because the rest of this is going to get covered up. So I don't think I need to go down any lower than that. But that just gives us a little background. And let's see, I'm gonna put that red up there so I don't get my hands in it. Next, I'm gonna bring in the shaded spruce and my little shaded spruce strip. And we are going to use the adorable little footprints. So like, I guess these could be bear footprints, dog footprints, cat footprints. What else is in this set? I think it's a badger. The badger, I guess. So I guess I don't know what their footprints look like. So maybe those of you who are in Wisconsin, right? Wisconsin is the Badgers, University of Wisconsin. So this one I'm just going to stamp the, oops, that wasn't a good first stamp. So we'll turn that one over. And I'm just going to stamp the footprints across this. Oh, can you hear the trash man? I hope that doesn't pick up too much. There we go. Across, got some green on my fingers, always. Now let's see about, we'll set these aside. What else do I want to do next? While I'm still, I guess these are probably dry. So we're going to do a little bit of coloring. So I've got my lens markers, and the first thing I'm going to do is use my, let's see, Pool Party. Actually, I'm going to dump these out, make it easier to grab. Sorry for the noise. We're going to use Pool Party Light, and I'm going to use the bullet tip, and I'm just going to go around the inside of the bear and just kind of outline, just like real light, like kind of outline his fur. Because like it's a polar bear, right? I mean, you could color it brown as a brown bear or whatever, but this is like the quick, easy version. So this just gives a little bit of definition and keeps it from being too stark on your card. And it kind of just makes the edges show up a little bit. So super easy. Just kind of outline all that, kind of where the little shadows might be. And then I'm going to use my basic black light, and I'm going to give him a nice dark nose. There, that gives him a little bit more detail. Let me bring that up a little bit closer so you can see. See, it's pretty subtle, but it adds a little something. Next, we're going to do the gifts on the top of the bear. So since I'm using shaded spruce on the card already, I'm going to bring that in. I'm going to bring in my real red light. And I think that's it. Between those two, oh, no, light and dark. There we go. It had rolled away. First, I'm just going to make my own wrapping paper design, and I'm just gonna, just super easy, just taking the shaded spruce dark and just drawing stripes all the way across. There we go. And then I am going to do shaded spruce light for this package. And then I'm going to do real red on this one. Now, I am not a great colorer. I don't have that vision for like shading and where the light comes from. So I just kind of do a little bit of dark and then kind of blend it with the light. And usually it ends up looking okay. But there are other people who definitely have better tutorials on how to color. And I should probably make time to watch those so then I can share the knowledge. But for now, that gives enough shading. Let's see, I'm going to use the light one again. And just kind of do my ribbon. And there we go. So just that little bit of color really adds quite a bit to, you know, the all white bear. Next, we're going to do the dog and the cat, because why not? Got your cute little dog delivering some letters, and the cat has a little vest that he's got letters tucked in his pocket. You can see how cute those are. All right, let's do the dog first. So we are going to use some brown. So I've got my SU100. So these are the neutrals. So don't ask me what they are paired up now in 2-pack. So it's like kind of a medium, light, dark. When I first got these, it was like a whole pack together. So I don't know what one this corresponds with, but this is like a dark brown. I would say it's very close to early espresso. So I just did his nose just so he has a dark nose. And then I did, let's see, we're gonna do some little bit of detail with the dark pecan pie. We're just gonna outline some spots, kind of, nope, not that one. That was his sweater. I was getting ahead of myself. I kind of forgot what I was coloring. So we're just gonna give him some darker color, and then we're just gonna fill him in with the light. So he's gonna have a little bit of shading, not too much, but try to do it fast because if you guys find watching people coloring, I mean, I like watching like real artists color and people who are really good at this, but usually they time lapse it. So it's not forever, but that's all right. I'm just gonna come in here really quick and just kind of blend in. So I usually do the dark around the edges, and then I pull some of that in with the lighter one, so then you can get a little bit of shading. Ooh, I missed a little bit on his little paws. Touch those up. There you go. Besides my little goof there, but maybe let's see if we can. Sometimes I have good success with the color lifter, and then sometimes I just kind of end up pulling too much and it makes everything kind of bleed. Yeah, it's bleeding a little bit. That's all right. So we're going to use Real Red for the sweater, and again, I'm going to start with the dark, and I'm just going to kind of where there might be some natural shadows and some color variation down there and maybe down here. And then I'm going to fill in with the Real Red light. And like I said, just kind of quick and dirty, just so you guys get the idea. Like I said, there's not really a big technique on this card today. I just thought it was cute after realizing I had only used this stamp set like twice, and one was just with sentiments for the design. So I hadn't really played with it too much, but it's cute. It's cute. All right, there we go. The dog besides my goof there, but you know, that makes it homemade, right? You guys can take your time when you recreate this card at home. Now we're going to do the cat. We're going to use Timid Tiger. Yes, Timid Tiger dark and light. So the dark I'm going to use just a little bit on some of the spots because the cat is pretty small. So I don't want to put too much dark color on. Then we're going to blend it with the light. Kind of give him a little orange cat. My son brought his orange cat back to school last weekend. So I don't have a little stamping helper in here anymore. But now I'll be able to let the dogs back upstairs maybe. They found it great fun to try and chase the cat. And they were like very interested in his food bowl, of course, and all that. So it's quiet up here now on the second floor without Curtis the cat running around. So that's kind of made the cat orange for that, because Curtis is orange. He's got some white, but he's mostly orange. All right, so fill in. Now let's do a little bit of light Flirty Flamingo for his nose. I don't know if you can really see that, but can't leave him with a white nose. That doesn't seem like it matches. And then we're going to use the Shaded Spruce light again, and I'm going to color in his little vest. because since the dog has a red sweater, we want to kind of spread our colors around. So I heard the theory, color theory, which I guess, I don't know if I really like fully realize that's what I do, but you kind of do like thirds with your colors. So you've got one color that kind of dominates, and then you do a third less for the next color, and then like the next third, it's just like little highlights of that color. So that's kind of what we're going with. Let's see. Let's get out the big shot, or big die cutter. I'm not going to call it what it is, but whatever die cutter you use, that's what you use. All right, so first we're going to do the dies. And let's see, I guess I have to get them out first. So we've got the polar bear. Oh no, actually I'm not doing the polar bear. I am going to die cut him, but not with his shape. I'm going to pull the dog and the cat. Oops. And then I'm just going to cut the, what do I do with it? There it is. I have too many piles. You stamp like that where suddenly you end up with stuff stacked, and you pull one thing out and then you have an avalanche. All right. So we are, oh, I see we've got Joan has joined us. Hi, Joan, all the way in Washington State. Goodness. That's all the way across the country from Virginia for sure. We actually have good friends who used to live in Richmond, and now they've moved back home to Spokane, where they are originally from. So we don't get to see them very often, but we have fond feelings for our friends in Spokane, and always cheer for Gonzaga when they are in the March Madness tournament. All right, there we go. We get these all lined up. The circle, oh, I forgot to say, the circle is from the Stylish Shapes die set. So you get all the different layers and nesting circles, squares, and then the banners. And I use this all the time. When a plain circle just won't do, that's what I end up using. So they are staples. If you don't have these staples in your collection, you might want to think about maybe adding that to your Christmas list, because that's something that you can use forever and ever in crafting and card making and scrapbooking. So now we've got that. Get my little pets. Little pets. And I always use painter's tape because it's cheap and it lasts a while and it doesn't rip your paper most of the time. Every once in a while, I don't know, one gets super sticky or something, you'll get a little tear, but generally I find it the easiest to use for holding my dies straight. So I've got those, set those aside. The next thing I'm going to do is use that piece. Let's see, I know there's a lot of stuff going on here. This kind of rectangle, what I say, it's 4 1/4 by 2 3/4. So I am going to emboss that with the, what did I just do with it? There it is. What did I just say about the piles, right? I'm going to use the Soft Wave embossing folder, and I'm going to go across like this, across, I keep saying across that one, and then just run it through, and it just gives a little bit of texture to the layer. The Christmas embossing folders, none of them really had kind of just the base, you know, like just something, I just need a little texture in the background. So for this one, we're just gonna tear off, you know, just the top. Don't be afraid to use basic white for layers. Like, there's no reason why every layer has to be a color. You could do white to make other colors stand out, or just because you need a little bit more weight in one part of your card. So don't be afraid to use white. You can also use white for matting against white, and it gives a nice crisp, clean edge. So don't be afraid to do that. Don't always feel that you have to add another layer of color. Sometimes that just makes a card too busy. So you don't have to do, I've got globs of glue everywhere. All right, so get everything straight so I can see without putting my head over the camera. There we go. So we're just going to do that, and that's why I just stamped the envelopes around the edge, because they weren't really going to be seen other than the edge. And here's my North Pole Delivery. I can't remember all the names, goodness sakes. The North Pole Delivery Designer Series paper. And this is a specialty paper, and what makes it specialty is it's got a couple sheets of die cut images that you pop out, and you can add to cards, you can add to tags, you can mix and match with the stamping and then add those as little accent pieces, but they're really cute, so that makes it specialty. So you've got lots of options to use for making your Christmas cards, and maybe, you know, keeping it a little bit quicker than having to stamp and die cut every single image. So I have a sample of that I used earlier in, well, I guess last month, or maybe earlier this month. So now I'm just going to put my footprints across the center here and make sure all my layers are lined up. So we're getting there. We are getting there. Let's see what's the next. I'm gonna make sure I don't bury my embellishments that are coming. So we are going to do, there's our bear. We're just gonna put him right there in the middle, and I'm not popping him up. We're gonna leave him flat down on the card front, and then we're gonna pop up some of the other things. Put him right there, her, him. I don't know how you can tell the bears what they are just by looking at them. I don't know. I saw something that the National Park Service is starting their Fat Bear Week coming up, that they do the Fat Bear contest where they follow the bears that are eaten and eaten and eaten before they head into hibernation. And it's kind of a funny thing that people are rooting for the different bears to get as big as they get. But if you haven't heard about that, definitely look that up, because it's really kind of funny and cute to see the bears. So I'm going to pop up the dog. I just put 2 dimensionals towards his back end, so it wouldn't be too... Actually, I can do another little one. Do a little mini dimensional. And if you ever do that, if you realize that you still need a little bit of support, I use my paper snips and just kind of stick it under so you don't have to pull the whole thing up. So I've got that, and then let's see, kitty I'm gonna do kind of running this way, so they're kind of running in different directions. I guess maybe they have different jobs of where they need to take all these letters that they've got. But cute little animals. So if you like making critter cards for Christmas, or you've got those friends that have the dachshund, or, you know, you can obviously color this dog whatever, maybe some black spots for a Dalmatian, maybe it could be a little Dalmatian puppy, or you can do a couple cats for the people who have several different cats. You can color them just personalized for them. So there we go. We've got that so far. What else are we going to do? I have a bit of real red and white baker's twine, and I'm just going to tie a quick knot. It's not a knot, it's a bow. Little bow here. And my fat fingers, they're kind of sticky from the glue. So I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. I'm going to trim the ends. Let's see. And then grab a glue dot. It's always easiest to pick up a glue dot by pressing whatever you want to attach with the glue dot into it, and then just picks it up. Keeps you from getting it stuck too much to your fingers and pulling it apart. I'm just going to give the dog a little bow. It's kind of big, but that's all right. Trim the ends off. Trim the ends off. All right, and this card definitely needs a sentiment in the front, and I left room right over here for a good space to balance it. Let me find my... So I'm going to do Sending Merry Tidings, and this is one of the ones that's in the set. So let's see if I can do it. Try to keep it straight without my head over. Pretty good. Cover that up. Let's see, what else can we add? I think we're going to add some sparkle, just a little bit of sparkle. I have the traditional sparkling sequins, and I'm going to do a small one. Oop, there we go, small one there. So I already had the scissors out. I was just going to use my scissor tips instead of pulling out my take your pick tool, but either one works. There we go. That's the card front. So really not a lot of coloring. Little bit of stamping around there. Got the paw prints, got some dimension, got some sparkle, got some pattern. So a little bit of texture with the pattern and the tearing. And now we're going to move to the inside. I'm going to do a little bit more stamping with my shaded spruce and my paw prints. And I am just going to have them go down the bottom. You can choose which animal these are from. Maybe the cat, because they're kind of close together. And pull in the real red again, and then I'm going to use that sentiment, like I said at the start, where we're going to just use the Merry Christmas from the traditional labels. You can see this is a much beefier size. Just do that one right in the middle. And if you are making multiples, the fastest way, put them on the same block, and you only have to stamp once instead of having to do it twice for each word, because they are not connected. So you can do Merry and Christmas separately. But that's a little trick to multiples. Put the stamp on the same blocks, and then you can crank them out faster, depending on how many you need to make. I make a ton of Christmas cards, and I make some multiples, but a lot are just one-offs that I've made for, you know, blog content, or obviously this year I'm doing the Let's Stamp Today weekly live, so you'll see Christmas cards on that. And then I have Christmas cards from my classes. There we go. Merry Christmas. Final touch, right? You've always got to have your hand stamped by. If you don't have a personalized hand stamped by stamp, use a coordinating color marker, and, you know, sign your name and the year maybe. Make it so that everyone knows that you've created the card, because you've put a lot of work into them. And while you've enjoyed the process and all that, I'm sure you should also get some credit when people see it and want to know who made it. So this is a super quick card. Just showed you a lot of the different stamps that you can use, and had a good time with the Jolly Delivery Set. Let's see some other samples. So this is kind of similar color. This is real red, and I used Garden Green instead of the shaded spruce, but this is the one that I used. All of these images are the die cuts from the designer series paper. So it's like, it took longer to figure out the size of the panels than it took to put the card together. Just popped them out, layered a couple, added a little bit of sparkle, and the sentiment is from the set. I just layered it with 2 circle punches and a little bit of ribbon. And like, you could just cut out all these and just mix and match the different images that you want to from the die cut images. It's just a fun extra in the stamp set. Not stamp set, the paper set. And then here we've got the bear again, little polar bear. This one, instead of coloring the presents, I did a little bit of paper piecing with some of the patterns, and the papers on this set, let's see. I don't have them handy. Where are they? Here they are. They are these patterns in the background are the Christmas tags and more. So this is a set of 6x6. So you can use some of the patterns for just like card fronts or whatever, or layer for tags. They've got some patterns that you can cut the images out for tags. So that's kind of fun, but I used it here just because I like the red and green. And then I used I colored in the little mailbox. And let's see, where's the other one? This one. This is the little box that comes in the die set, so you can make this little treat box. I have to take it to the store and see what little candies I can fit in there. But you can personalize or customize the little tab closure, so you can do the heart, the star. What else do they have in the box? The heart, star, and a circle. So you can kind of make it whatever you want. So this would be good for Valentine's Day treats too, if you do a little heart, and then you can stamp hearts around it. But it opens. How cute is that? You do a little message inside or whatever you want. And then the front side, oops, get my ribbon. Pull that back through. Well, that's here and there, nor there. And then again, these are more of the die cuts from the Designer Series paper. So it's a fun little set to play with, and I'm sure at some point I will come up with a different colorway other than the red and green. But for now, you know, traditional Christmas, you can't go wrong with red and green. So I thank everybody for coming. If you have any questions about the project or any of the supplies I used, definitely leave a comment and I'll get back to you. But I hope you enjoyed watching this card come together and gave you some ideas for a layout that might work for your own stamping. All of the information for ordering the products used in this card can be found. It'll be on my blog post when I share the card, but Did You Stamp Today with Amanda Mertz or Stamping with Amanda, StampinUp.com. You can find me there. So thank you all so much for coming. See you next week. Take care.